there are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search, apply to teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your host, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Parris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Here we go.
Welcome to a special episode of Gamertag Radio. This is Parris. I'm out here in Los Angeles, California. I just left the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal event. I had a fantastic time. It was so great being able to interact with all the people in the Destiny community, talk to people at Bungie, talk to people at Activision, etc. So I'm going to have a series of interviews coming up where I talk to some people, get some early reaction right after we saw the reveal event, kind of talk halfway through after I've had a little bit of hands-on time. And then I'm also going to talk to someone very renowned in the PvP community of Destiny. And then I'm going to wrap everything up with an interview with Mark Noseworthy, who is the project lead for Destiny 2. So you guys are probably thinking, Parris, what do you think about Destiny 2? If you've been following me on social media today, you've probably been seeing that I've been posting gifs of Destiny 2 is lit. It is fire. It is pretty much what I wanted Destiny 2 to be, being the successor, obviously, to what we got for Destiny 1. I feel like they've done a fantastic job fixing some of the social issues, which was forcing you to leave the game to actually do LFG, like if you're trying to do some in-game activities like the raid or trials or Nightfall, where now they're going to build some of that stuff into the game. I like that they've revamped the weapon system. So you now have a kinetic slot. You have a power energy slot, I guess, for your weapon. And then you have that powered slot, which is where you're going to have your shotgun, your sniper rifles, your rocket launchers, machine guns, etc. And then going back to that energy slot, that's where you're going to have some other weapons like your hand cannons and your SMGs now, which are in the game, etc. And then the kinetic is still going to be your standard, your pulse rifle, your scout rifle, auto rifle, etc., hand cannon, etc. But the fact that you can now have two hand cannons if you want, if one of them happens to be an energy weapon. So I'm really digging that. And I'm in my hotel room and people are just being loud as hell, but I'm going to continue right now. So if you hear that on the microphone, it's just people outside my room being extremely loud. So like I said, I'm really digging the game. If I had a nitpick, it's going to be PvP. And it's just the change that they're making to PvP. And you'll hear later on with Mark Noseworthy. I ask him directly and he gives you an answer as to why. But the thing that is going to be a little controversial is the fact that they're going to now make PvP 4v4 across the board. So there's no 3v3, there's no 2v2, there's no 6v6. Everything in PvP Destiny will be 4v4. I'm of two minds of this. I get why they're doing it for the whole competitive side. I get what Mark Noseworthy, and I'll let him explain it, his explanation as to why they're doing it. But for someone like me who, I'm barely average at best, I just like to have fun in PvP, but I'm nowhere near, some expert in PvP or some dominant player. I just like to have fun with my son. I like to have fun with my friends. I like doing 2v2 matches. I like doing 3v3. I love control at 6v6, things like that. And now they're taking that away. So we'll see how it plays out. Just the buzz around the show floor while I was at the event, people were a little skeptical of it. I saw some rumblings on social media, etc. So I'll just say we'll take a wait and see on that and just see what people think. I love the strike that I was able to play. I love the gameplay mechanics that were introduced during that, and you'll see some capture footage on that if you go look on the internet of people showing off gameplay for that. And speaking of capture footage, I was able to capture my PvP session. I was supposed to be able to capture my strike session and just basically technical difficulties. They were just running extremely long, and I had to interview with Mark Noseworthy, so I had to bail on waiting for a capture station and just play the game. So I don't have capture footage for the strike. I also got to play that campaign level that you probably saw during the gameplay reveal stream, and I got to go through that on the PS4 Pro, and I also got to go through it on the PC. Yes, I did play the PC version of that. I did keyboard mouse. I played it. It was at 60 frames per second, and it was at 4K. I don't know the exact specs of the PC that I played it on, but it looked fantastic on the PC. It looked fantastic in 4K, so I was really excited to see that. I was playing on the PS4 Pro, but the monitors that I was playing on were not in 4K, so I did not see it in 4K on the PS4 Pro, so I cannot comment on that. But, I mean, it was 30 frames per second, which is another sticking point, because I know a lot of people were hoping for 60 frames per second on the console. Obviously, we've seen that the PC version is going to be on Battle.net, which is Blizzard. That announcement was made, so that'll be interesting to see. I know there were some rumors of cross save with the PS4 and the PC, or maybe even an Xbox Play Anywhere version. That this announcement's pretty much nixed that. Also, the PC version will not be coming on September 8th. Bungie was pretty tight-lipped as to when we can expect the PC version, but it will not be day and date with the launch of it on console on September 8th. So again, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe more information on that at E3. Overall, I am loving the new worlds that they're doing, the social spaces that they're going to do. It's not just basic patrol anymore. The fact that you're going to have these lost sectors, which are basically dungeons that you have to go discover out in the world, these treasure maps that you find, and you're finding various loot out there, that they're revamping the public event system. They've obviously not talked about it too much, exactly what that means, but it's going to be different than what we've had in Destiny 1. Just the size and scope of these worlds, they look pretty big. We're going to Io, we're going to Titan, we're going to Nessus, which is some Cabal world, and then we're going to be at the European Dead Zone on Earth. Fantastic. I'm excited. We know a raid is coming. We're not going to get any information on that, obviously, until we actually play the raid, because that's the whole point of the raid, is you want to go in blind and discover all these mechanics for yourself. So I like that they're implementing a backstory for these characters. We got to see a backstory for Zavala, which was great. We kind of got to see his origin story. Cade is coming more to the forefront, and then, oh my God, why am I forgetting her name? Wow, I'm blanking, so I apologize. But the warlock, Ikora. Wow, I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Ikora. We got to see a nice little cinematic with her as well. Getting these cinematics into the game, telling the story and the lore of Destiny in the game. Again, the social features of Destiny are built into the game now. You don't have to leave the game to get more information now. It's going to be critical to that. I love the story that they're going to tell with the Red Legion and Gaul, or Gary, whatever you want to call him, coming to Earth because he feels that he deserves the power of the Traveler, and how dare you give it to these puny humans. And he's come with his force, and he is taking the Traveler and taking its light for himself. So it looks like we're definitely going to get a nice cinematic story from Destiny 2, and I'm excited to see it. Again, I'll just say overall, I'm very excited for Destiny 2. It checks the boxes that I wanted it to check. I'm a little skeptical of PvP, but we'll have to wait and see over the summer through the beta, and then obviously when it launches on September 8th, how that's going to work out. Because the one good thing that we've known over the past 3 years with Bungie is they listen to the community. So if we're not happy with this, they will change it eventually. So that's one positive thing to look at. So like I said, I'm going to go into some of these interviews, but before I do, I have to tell this story at the event. Again, overall, the love and the support from the people in the Destiny community is just overwhelmingly positive. I did not run into one negative person the past 2 days while I was here in Los Angeles. Everyone has been great. I ran into some of my friends over at Guardian Radio. I ran into Pope Bear over at the Destiny Community Podcast, and I met True Vanguard, who has been someone I've been watching on YouTube for the past 2 years to get tips on PvP, and we hit it off really great, and just all the other people that I met while I was here in this Destiny community. I mean, Bife, you're getting to actually talk to Bife, and we're talking lore. I met Fran Marabella and Destin Legary from IGN, and we're talking about the Fire Team podcast or Fire Team Chat podcast, and we're talking about, just obviously the game of Destiny, everything. And it's just, everything was so positive. I just cannot say that enough. And it's why I love this game so much, because of the people and because of the community that's been built around. It's fantastic, which brings me to this. So I'm sitting with one of my friends, Mike, and we're just hanging out. And I was like, let me go get a drink. I'm leaving my bag here. So I was like, I'm leaving my bag and go get a drink. So I get up to go get a drink. I see Deej. Deej sees me. Deej, Parris, hey, I'm glad I ran into you. Here, come on, sit down. All right, awesome. It's Deej. Let me sit down and talk to Deej. Sit down and talk to Deej. Before I get a word out of my mouth, Pete Parsons, COO. I believe it's his COO, something like that. Anyways, he's basically like the number 2 man at Bungie right now. He's the head of the studio at Bungie. He comes over, sits down. Deej introduces him to me. Hey, Parris, Gamertag Radio. It's a great guy. Whole thing. Awesome. Talk in my head. Oh my God, I'm talking to Pete Parsons. This is amazing. I swear to you, not 2 minutes later, some guy runs over and jumps on the couch with us and sits right next to me. It is Jason Jones, the founder of Bungie, is sitting with me. And the three of us are talking about Destiny, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're talking about our kids playing the game. We're talking about the community. It is so freaking awesome. Deej then has to get up and go do an interview. So goodbye, Deej. I'm now alone talking to Pete Parsons and Jason Jones about Destiny. And in my head, I'm like, where's my recorder? Why don't I have my recorder? Frick. But to be honest with you, I don't think Jason Jones would have talked to me if I was sitting there recording the conversation, because he's obviously been very aloof when it comes to doing interviews and everything. And again, in my head, I'm just like, wow, I don't want to talk too long. I don't want to be that guy that they're like, oh my God, I feel trapped talking to this guy. Please let me leave. So I hit the eject button at a certain point and I got up and said I had to go. But it was fantastic being able to talk to them. I'm talking to the guys that make this game. I had a couple off the record conversations with Luke Smith as well, which was fantastic. We talked a little bit about the game. He's obviously very excited and proud for what he's been creating with this world of Destiny. And, I've always been rooting for that guy because I've known him for years, and it's just amazing to see where his career has gone. And I couldn't be prouder and happier for him. But let's go into these interviews. So first up, I'm talking to my man Q, and this interview is not even an interview. This conversation, I should say, is happening right after we got the gameplay reveal. And I think I had played PvP at this point, and we're going to start talking about Destiny and what we're thinking. So let's go into that interview.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Gamertag Radio is headed to E3 2017.
E3 is one of the biggest events for Gamertag Radio, and you don't want to miss this.
Join hosts Danny Pena, Parris Lilly, and Peter Toledo direct from the convention center floor.
What are the plans for Microsoft? We're going to see more new titles from Sony PlayStation. And how about Nintendo? Interviews, roundtable discussion, previews, hand-on impressions, and more.
E3 2017 coverage on Gamertag Radio.
June 11th through the 15th. GamerTagRadio.com or play.it/Gamertag.
This is Parris. I'm here with Q. We're at the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal. We just saw the presentation. I actually had a little bit of hands-on, but I wanted to kind of get some instant reaction. So, Q, thank you for taking some time to talk to me.
No problem. Always good to join you guys. Wow. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was getting chills. Every trailer they showed, every gameplay thing they showed, I was getting chills, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I feel like they hit a lot of the check boxes that I wanted to see with them, going from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2. So I'm looking at my notes. So, Luke came on stage and he said there were 3 things that they were trying to do. And the first one was a world that pulls you in. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like they've done enough by expanding, like our play area with a lot of different things to do?
Well, I still think it's kind of early to tell. I know they got new planets, and they said it's bigger than what they've ever done before.
Right.
But I still have to experience it firsthand to see really how big it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have a world that pulls me in with the Destiny 1. So I believe them, but I still want to see it and hopefully dive in a little bit later today just to get a little taste, a little tease.
I think the big thing for me was expanding patrols, and I like now with the treasure maps and the lost sectors, and there's just not just hey, pick up a bounty and you're just doing the same things over and over. It sounds like there's a lot of like things defined within these worlds that and I love that Earth is now doing the European Dead Zone, and what was it? Was it Europa? Or it's Titan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Titan and IO.
Yeah, and then there's
Nessus.
Nessus, yeah. So that looks interesting. Now, one thing, and I actually played the 4v4 PvP, is I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about basically forcing us into 4v4 for the PvP modes. Hopefully, when I do an interview later, I can get that clarified. But the one match that I played, which is, what is the
countdown?
Countdown.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. It's Destiny. It felt like Destiny. It was fine. But the gameplay mode itself, I don't know if that's what I want to do in PvP. So, and obviously I know it's not going to be the only thing, but that's what they're showing today. So you'll see when you get a chance to play it.
Yeah, I don't mind the 4v4, but I don't want them to take away the 6v6. I still want that to be an option.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I have a clan that when we play together, we team up. There's
agreed.
A bunch of us that want to play together.
Yeah.
And cutting out two team members is kind of...
Because I'm thinking like Iron Banner, like you said, you were doing Control and Clash and all that. You want those big matches sometimes. You don't want it to just be locked to 4v4. And then obviously you want to still be able to do like the 3v3 stuff. I love the one-on-one elimination stuff.
Right.
I still want to do those things in PvP
so I still want that option. And hopefully they're not taking it away. And if they do take it away, that everybody raises their concerns about it and they bring it back, because Bungie's, they listens to us, and they do it if we really want it. So I think
of everything that we saw today, that would be the most controversial thing that potentially could come out of this. Now, the one thing that really excites me and was kind of my hope coming into this was the social aspects of it. So they're doing, again, I'm going through my notes trying to make sure I got this right, is the in-game clan system they got now, and they're calling it guided games.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great, because sometimes my clan, I have a small clan, there's probably about 15 of us, and not everybody's online all the time.
Right.
And sometimes I'm solo, and I wouldn't mind going around looking at different clans to see who I can play with, to run a raid, to do a nightfall, to do a trials run, just, when my clan is offline or whatever. I think it's a great idea, and I'm really looking forward to that, because I play solo a lot, really, and my hours of play are always kind of off everybody hours. A lot of my clan's on the East Coast, so they're in bed when I'm like just getting on or getting ready to get off when I'm just getting on. So I'm on the West Coast, by the way. So I think it's great, and I'm totally looking forward to it.
It's something that was sorely needed to be in-game, because as it stands right now, you got to leave the game, go to lfg.net, try and hopefully you can find a group that wants to play, that doesn't have these ridiculous standards for you to join.
Right.
So now you're going to see a scenario where, like they showed today, you got 5 people ready to do the raid. You just need one person's out there looking for a raid. You can kind of match up with each other and maybe set some parameters before they join, and I think it's going to be good. We'll have to see how it works in practice, but this is a good first step to kind of solving that problem.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, totally.
But
and then even customizing your clan with their own banners and stuff. We have our clan. We have T-shirts. It's called Space Wakanda. We have like the Destiny logo and a little Black Panther logo with it, and we got our own little. We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, agreed. Now, what did you think of that opening campaign that we saw? Basically, the destruction of the tower.
I was excited for our new supers, man.
Yeah.
We had with the staff, because who was that? Is that a warlock with the staff? Or
no, it's a hunter.
A hunter with the staff, yeah. And man, that looks dope.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, when I did PvP, I was of course warlock for life. I popped my super, and it was the new solar with the sword super for the warlock.
Yes.
Very nice.
I'm warlock too, but I do everybody.
It's similar to the way the Titan works now, where he's throwing the hammers in that way, because I kind of went in the air and I'm kind of throwing the sword down. But I was going through the skill tree and kind of looking. It also looks like your super can do a buff similar to the Titan when he throws his bubble, where it can boost your weapons or it can boost your armor.
Wow. Okay.
So they're mixing it up a little bit. Again, gotta play more. That was just a quick look at it.
So are we keeping our old supers too? Did you see that in there?
I noticed it looked like the Hunter still had Gunslinger.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a mix of new and old supers.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Because I like the supers that we have now, and bringing them forward, plus adding new ones, I think is a great idea.
Agreed. Now, going to the PC, I've only watched someone play it, so now, I mean, it looked very smooth. They were talking 60 frames per second on the PC, obviously. I've heard that the PS4 is still at 30, so I assume Xbox One's going to be 30 as well.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on it using BattleNet? Some people cheered, some people groaned when we were watching this earlier.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. I mean, if you're a dedicated Blizzard user who uses BattleNet for Hearthstone and StarCraft and World of Warcraft and Overwatch and all that stuff, and if you're using it every day anyway,
it's a no-brainer.
It's fine.
Yeah,
but if you don't play any Blizzard games, you have to download a new client. Usually people use Steam or GOG or, it's just another client that people have to download. So I understand some of the groans about it. I don't use it that often. I play Hearthstone every now and then.
Right.
I play Overwatch on console, so I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air with it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I was hopeful for the whole cross-save thing potentially, so that any character progression I do on a console, I can just take to the PC. Doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Which, okay, fine. I mean, that wasn't something I was expecting until the rumor popped, a few days ago. So it just means I'm going to have to double dip. I don't use BattleNet now because I don't play Overwatch or anything like that on the PC right now. So I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, I think Bungie understands and Activision understands they have a lot of features and expectations from the PC community that they're going to have to live up to.
Right.
So I'll get a chance to play the PC campaign later today, so hopefully I can see some of those features in action.
Right. So I get to play. I haven't played anything yet. I was just kind of walking around looking at the stations. I'm very excited to get my hands on the game. Looking forward to it. And they were kind of teasing a raid, and I thought they were going to show a piece of the raid.
No.
But they didn't show anything.
I knew we weren't going to. Now, I do believe we actually saw a couple scenes from the raid in the gameplay trailer, because they showed some six-player stuff, which, again, I really hope, going back to the PvP thing, I can't get away from that. I really hope they don't take away the 6v6. I want to still see 6v6. So that's probably one of the first questions I ask when I interview later today.
Yeah, they were also kind of bigging up more cinematic cutscenes, and I know a lot of gamers don't like cutscenes. I like cutscenes. I think for most of my gaming life, I always felt like cutscenes were something that you earned after you defeated a level or a mission or whatever. So I appreciate them. What do you think about more cutscenes in the game?
Well, that was the thing that was missing from Destiny 1. Vanilla Destiny was they didn't have enough. They didn't have that cinematic storytelling experience. So you kind of need that if you're going to tell the story. So, I mean, I totally get it. And I love the fact that they're bringing Zavala and Zecora and obviously Cade to the forefront as main characters in the game. And it sounds like the campaign revolves around them, you seeking them out and, getting everyone back together so that you can take down the Cabal, and reclaim the city and all that stuff. I also love... they gave you a little bit of snippet. It looks like the social space on Earth is quote unquote the farm.
Yeah.
It also looks like on probably the planet where the other guys are at, there's social spaces there as well. It looks like NPCs are going to be interactive this time with you. Like, it looks like you're even going to be getting missions and quests from them, like looking for stuff again with this whole treasure map stuff, which I'm very interested to see. They hinted at expanding the public events where there was going to be, what did he say? Some heroic. He said heroic actions or something like that. It's not going to be just the way it is now. Hey, shoot at the boss, he dies, and you get loot. It sounds like there's going to be extended stuff with the public events. I love the fact that you just bring up your map now. Oh, there's a public event here starting at this time, so you know where it is, and you can just go to. And we don't have to go to orbit anymore.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest thing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But I used to go to DestinyPublicEvents.com or something just to
still do.
see where they're coming. It's always a little off, but having that in game and within the game, I think is great because I love public events. It's fun. You get a lot of good loot from there, and your levels go up, and I like that part.
And that's the thing. I mean, the one thing I took from their presentation today was they're very conscious of respecting the veteran hardcore players, but getting new casual players into the experience, not forcing solo players to feel isolated. Again, no one gets left behind. Everyone gets to play with each other. Like I said, all their stuff they're doing with the social integration. I mean, I'm digging it. This is kind of the natural progression of what they needed to do from Vanilla Destiny, I feel.
I agree. And I can't wait till September. Like I said, I was just getting chills through the whole presentation. I was like, I can't wait. Let's do this. I think with all that other stuff you mentioned earlier, the treasure maps, the new adventures, I feel like I'm not going to be playing any other game for a very long time.
Yeah, agreed. It's September 8th. I'm taking a week off because I'm just going to dive in all together. Now, I'll say this. There's the one funny thing. As I'm watching this, I go, I don't want to play Destiny 1 anymore. It's like, now that I've tasted Destiny 2, I don't think I want to play Destiny 1 anymore, but I know I'll still play. But
I still need to do some record book stuff that I want to finish.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for 2, man. I'm so ready.
Oh, same here. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up because maybe we can talk again after we get more hands-on and all that. Try and grab some more people and get their impressions as well. So any last thing you want to throw out there before we sign off?
No. Well, what did they say about the beta? Was that at the end of the summer?
They didn't give a date. He just said we're getting a beta later. He's like, everyone watching at home, you don't feel left out. You'll get a beta later. Now, I hope the beta isn't what we're doing today. I don't think it will be. I think they'll give us.
I think it might be because the original beta had like a mission and it had PvP.
Yeah, you had a strike, but you also had some level progression through, like you could explore, patrol, and all that. I don't think we're doing any of that today.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get the full experience, just in a limited cut. So we'll see.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get ready to play, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. And more Destiny coverage coming soon. Our sponsor this week is Dell, and more specifically, Dell Gaming. Dell Gaming creates machines to make every experience more intense and real. From powerful Dell Gaming PCs with Intel Core processors to the ultimate Alienware VR-ready experience, there's a PC designed to bring your best game at every level. Because the best feature of a gaming machine is the power to make you forget it's there. Don't just play, game. Visit Dell.com/gaming to learn more. That's Dell.com/gaming. All right. Thank you, Q. Great conversation as always, talking to him. We wanted to link up again later, but again, it was just chaos by the end, just running around trying to make appointments on time and everything. So I didn't link up with him again and kind of get his thoughts post having played all the content of Destiny. So this next one, I'm talking to James Lugo, aka Venomous Fat Man. And also kind of the same thing. I'm getting his early on impressions of Destiny and what his thoughts are of Destiny 2. All right, this is Parris. I'm still here in Los Angeles at the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal, and I have someone else to give me their impressions. So please introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? This is the epic James Lugo from the Coalition. We just saw Destiny 2, and we got to play Destiny 2, which was dope.
Now, I've already given my early impressions already, so I'm interested to hear what you think about Destiny 2. So just from the top, from everything that we've seen so far, what do you think of the game?
So from what we saw before we played anything, I thought everything that we saw was really cool, really phenomenal. A lot of interesting stuff, very ambitious stuff that they're doing now, not only just on the PS4, but also the PC, which is a huge deal, obviously. I mean, you're a big PC gamer.
Oh, yeah.
You think this is pretty awesome. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool things that they're doing with there. As far as narrative stuff, story stuff, interesting. A lot of cutscenes, which is what I love. Being someone that loves playing solo games and stuff, that's really cool. New villain looks pretty badass, looks pretty awesome, pretty crazy. And, I mean... It just looks very interesting. It looks very clean. It looks very beautiful. All in motion. I mean, that I thought was pretty awesome.
What about the PvP?
Okay, so PvP on PC. That's the first thing I got to play right now as we're recording this. That was the first thing I got to mess around with. It reminds me heavily of Counter-Strike. Like as far as like search and destroy Counter-Strike, it's very fast paced. I'm guessing 60 frames per second on the PC. It did not feel the same way it does on the console. Granted, we're playing with mouse and keyboard, but it's very awkward at first trying to like mess around and actually use it. Obviously, I'm hoping you could remap the keys, because there was just certain things there that I just didn't like how they were mapped. Throwing grenades, using my special, all that type of stuff was just awkward. Especially when I'm in the middle of a firefight. Right. I'm getting dogged. You can't revive people when you're getting shot at. If you remember in the previous game, when you're doing raids or PvP and stuff, you could revive people and have the little counter go up and while you're still getting shot at. This one, it resets it.
That's actually good. I like that.
I mean, it's interesting as far as balance. Yeah. But it, like discovering that on the fly was like, oh, well, wait a second, this is not how I remember this. Yeah. But like little things like that I noticed. But overall, controlling it on PC was just awkward. I mean, if I end up playing it on PC again, I would use a controller instead of the mouse and keyboard.
But that's going to put you at a disadvantage.
True. But as far as like being comfortable, as far as ease of mind, for me, that would work for me.
Right. So here's, and I said this before, but I'll say it again because I'm curious what you think. I don't like the perceived forcing of 4v4. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's certain game types, I'm guessing, that would probably work better for 4v4, and then there's certain ones that would not, because, Trials 3v3, that's a big one. I mean, I have to see them more in practice, like get a hands-on and actually see all the modes to see like how that impacts, the metagame or just the overall PvP game as a whole. And I'd be really curious to see what this does with the drops and the types of weapons we get. If like the number of players, like certain weapons that we would perceive to be great in PvP are actually might not be as much, or like the whole landscape as far as people's loadouts and what they're bringing with them to PvP would actually be something different than what we're used to.
Now, something I forgot to talk about before when I was talking to Q. Oh, excuse me. Is with the whole social features that are coming in, the clans. The one thing I forgot is the fact that clans also, there's progression and rewards for being in the clans. I forgot about that. That's another thing I like. But just overall, with the social features, what do you think
This
about
is exactly what I wanted. I mean, we were talking before I even came to this. I was like, I wanted something like this for raids specifically, but now I got it for everything. And with the rewards for clans, I mean, that just gives you more of an incentive to join a clan, to actually partner up, even with people that you might not know, but you grow with them over time. You're going to get stuff for that. It allows you and encourages you to take risk, get out of your element, get out of your comfort zone. But really, for me, it's just the game guide stuff where you're able, if you're just solo and you cannot get a team together, you could get matched up with other groups. I mean, some people, I heard a little bit through the grapevine, some people thought it was like, perceiving a little bit where you're just kind of like, the weakest link out of a group of people that already know each other and stuff. But I look at that as the flip side of that. It's like, okay, this encourages me to go find other people. This is going to reward me for doing so. And then I don't have to get left out for not doing the raids.
Exactly.
Which I think is the biggest thing.
Agreed. So going to the actual world exploration, what are your thoughts on now that we're going to have the treasure maps? And I'm thinking off the top of my head, the other things that they were talking about.
But they call this something different, but it's like, lost sectors, which is lost dungeons, basically, which is awesome for this style of game, especially if you like MMOs like that. That's like a staple of the entire genre. And, this encourages you not just to do patrols, because remember, patrols get very monotonous in the first Destiny. I mean, you have to do them to do tied to certain quests, to get certain loot, to do all these different things. But now having dungeons where it feels like there's a whole separate side quest. They don't call them side quests, which is funny enough that they do that. But like you're getting all these other separate missions and dungeons and things that you could explore that is completely on top of everything that you're going to get with the main game. And I feel like the presentation of that is better than the first Destiny. It feels like they're giving you more, and it feels like you're going to want to do all these different things because you're going to get a variety of like crazy loot.
So overall, just are you happy with what you saw? Was there anything that you still want to hear more about?
I mean, I obviously still want to hear more about the narrative, the story. That's a very big deal. I think we all do, because it's a very good tease that they had at the very end there, because we don't really know a lot about the villain, even though they told us a bunch of stuff, but I want to know the minutia of it. I want to know more about what's going on with the Traveler now, all this stuff that we saw in the trailer. Overall, as a game, gameplay-wise, visual-wise, it looks pretty good. It looks like they've listened to a lot of the feedback from the community, from people like us that play Destiny a lot, that we've complained about certain things about the game. They've paid attention, clearly, and they've given us more on top of that. So Destiny 2 is a huge step up over Destiny 1.
I could not have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to me,
Anytime,
man. I
dude.
really appreciate it. And look, like I said, we'll get some more gameplay time in. Maybe I'll get you back on again.
Definitely.
And we'll have some more educated opinions.
We got a lot more to play too. I mean, we're just started.
Like I said, I got to do PC campaign. We got to do Strike. Like I said, I played a little bit on the PS4 PvP. But here's the thing. I don't know if you knew this already. So PC, obviously, 60 frames per second. PS4 is still going to be 30.
Yeah. I mean, it's somewhat to be expected. I mean, I would rather have it 60 on both.
Right.
But I mean, I can understand that because it's on the PC platform.
Yeah, agreed. So again, just on the PC real quick before we sign off, Battle.net, how do you feel about that?
That is a cool surprise. That is very, very cool. I mean, and it makes sense because Battle.net, they know what's up, World of Warcraft, League, and all these other different things. They know about large online communities, especially competitive online communities.
Yeah.
This will be interesting if this leads into other stuff involving esports, because if you think about it, stats and a lot of other things, Battle.net, that's exactly where I think it's going to go to, because Battle.net and stuff that's going on with all these other games that's associated with Blizzard Entertainment, I mean, that seems like this is going to be in the most ideal direction for them. Now, whether that takes off like in that way or not, it's to be determined. We'll know when the game comes out, especially with the PvP stuff.
Right.
I mean, some people, I can understand maybe wanting to stick with just the PvE aspect of it, because that's a huge part of Destiny, more so than, in my opinion anyway, more so than PvP. But if that could become the next step for Destiny, that'd be very interesting.
Agreed. Again, I'm very excited about what we saw today. I want to know more. Obviously, we know a beta will be coming this summer, so we'll get more gameplay at that time. But again, man, thank you for joining me.
Anytime,
and we'll talk again soon.
Of course, yes.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right. James, again, thank you for sitting down with me and talking about Destiny 2 and your early thoughts on the game. So this next one, it was a special treat for me. And I almost feel like I ain't gonna lie, I got a little nervous in the interview because, again, I respect this guy so much and he's such an amazing dude. Matter of fact, I will put it out there. We had breakfast this morning and he bought my breakfast. I did not ask for this. He bought my breakfast. That's just how cool a dude he is. As a matter of fact, let me tell the whole story. So Pope Bear, who I know, and we were linking up the night before, and he was at a get-together. It was supposed to be like a small get-together, like 5 or 6 people. He wanted to intro me to a few people in the community. Okay, cool. So Danny and I, Q, we were like, all right, we're going to go to this meetup. It was over at McCormick and Smith's or something like that. So we get there, and I guess word got out. So by the time we get there, there's like 30, 35 people there. And we're like, oh, we don't want to look like we're crashing this thing. Pope Bear felt bad, the whole thing. It was all good. But True Vanguard is there. And I even tell Pope, I go, oh, wow, that's True Vanguard. I go, hey, if you ever get the opportunity, not now because at dinner I don't want to bother him, maybe you can intro me. I would love to talk to that guy because I've been a fan of his work for the past couple of years. So Pope was like, yeah, absolutely. He'll be at the event tomorrow. I'm sure you'll see him. I was like, yeah, duh. I'll see him at the event and I'll introduce myself. So I get up the next morning. My Twitter feed is blown up because Pope did say something to him, obviously, that night. True Vanguard, he's followed me, and he was like, absolutely, man, let's meet up. I would love to meet you. Cool. All right. So that morning before we even go to the event, or this morning before we go to the event, I actually see him in the lobby in badge pickup. He sees me, he obviously recognizes me, and hey, Parris, hey, yeah. And so we meet up, and we're talking, kind of hit it off, and we go to breakfast. We're talking at breakfast, talking about everything, family, kids, the game, all that stuff, and then he picks up the bill. Wow. I was very humbled by that he would do that because I was not expecting that at all. And I just want to give this story out for the record because I don't know how cool a guy he is. So follow him, YouTube, subscribe, True Vanguard. He gives it all out during the interview. So let's play that interview with True Vanguard talking about PvP. Like I said, I got a little nervous, a little fanboyish in there, a little bit, but overall, I think it's a great interview talking to one of the top people in the PvP world of Destiny. So let's play that now. All right, this is Parris. I'm still here at the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal, and I just finished playing some PvP. So I went to what I consider one of the best PvP players in the world of Destiny, True Vanguard.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And I have to say, and I told you this already offline, my son and I, we watch your videos on YouTube all the time. I stink at PvP. Now, he's a beast. He doesn't need help, but yeah. I watch your videos. I love how you go through everything, explain what you're thinking when you're doing certain things, tactics, the build loadouts, weapons, when to use them, not to use them, etc. So, I mean, it's awesome, man. It's an honor for me to be able to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So,
you got to play some Destiny 2. You got to play some PvP. I want your thoughts overall, but let's just start with PvP. What did you think?
Oh, man. There's so many things I want to talk about with PvP that I'm really in love with so far. One of the things I think is most interesting, I talked with the guy who took lead on map design. He took lead on map design here in Destiny 2, and the map that we're playing today, he actually designed, laid it out, and he talked about his inspiration for the map and others. He drew inspiration from some arena-style shooters, from games like CSGO even, and he said he really tried to get a good feel for great objective gameplay and how the map can be conducive to that. So it's a different starting point for map design here in Destiny 2. It's less taking a starting point of let's make a map that fits in our universe and then retrofit it for PvP. Yeah. It's the inverse of that. They're starting with let's make a really great PvP map and then let's skin it so it looks like it fits in our universe. So it's a different starting point, so it gives a different feel. It feels much more fluent, much more methodical. So I'm really enjoying the way the maps themselves play out. They seem to be in line with other competitive shooters, which I think is a great thing for this community. Another thing I've noticed is that ability spam is down compared to Destiny 1. You see where we are currently in Destiny 1, a lot of one-hit kill abilities that are really reigning the Crucible. And even things like sticky grenades here in the Crucible and Destiny 2, they're not one-hit kills. So you still have to clean up your kill with your primary, secondary weapon, whatever you have equipped. So most of the abilities seem to be geared towards supplementing gunplay and less about getting offensive ability kills. You've got the shield half wall for the Titan or full wall, depending on how you spec it. But it's there so that you can take cover and get into a firefight and create open space cover. So it's more about supplementing your gunplay and less about getting kills with abilities. So I think that's going to bring ability spam down, even though there are actually more abilities in Destiny 2. We even have a new ability slot available to us. I think of the Dawnblade subclass. They've got an ability that makes it so that they can put this sort of pool of energy underneath them, and it recharges their health, or it can supercharge their weapons. So both options are there to supplement your gunplay. I'm loving that because gunplay makes or breaks shooters.
Oh, could not agree with you more. Now, you mentioned the Titan. Did you play, well, you played the Warlock as well, so did you get to play the Hunter?
I did play the Hunter as well, yes.
Okay. What'd you think?
You know, Titans are not as speedy as they are in Destiny 1.
Definitely.
They obviously cracked down on Titan skating. They let it be in Destiny 1 because that was part of the character of that class, of the Titan classes that you could play. But I think in Destiny 2 they have a different vision for how they want the Titan to perform. It's less about closing gaps quickly. It's more about being a sort of stronghold of a character. Yeah. You can provide support for your teammates. I actually really love that style of play. I'm a little bummed we don't get to play the new subclass while we're here. At least I haven't seen any options to play it. But with the shield, I think that just looks super cool. The Sentinel. I'm so excited to get my hands on it when we do. But it looks like they've retooled the Titan. The Hunter, I'm really liking some of the changes they've done there as well. The throwing knife now has an explosive ability so that it'll hit, it'll stick in somebody, and then it'll detonate. Does pretty good amounts of damage. And then also there's this sort of shade step substitute. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not something to be spammed. It has a cooldown. You can't just keep doing it like you can do shade step. But what it does is it sort of repositions you. It gives you a third-person camera momentarily, so it's great for target acquisition and finding people in your area without actually swiveling your camera. Then you can come out of that animation. It reloads your weapon for you. So again, it's there to supplement your gunplay. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I am too. Everything that you're saying. I'm loving that. You can tell, in my opinion, and I'm a novice, but they took a lot of lessons learned from the PvP, because like you said, you go into PvP right now in the Crucible in Destiny 1, it is just one-shot heaven. Like we saw with Iron Banner this week, everything was, what was it? Now I'm blanking because I've been playing so much Destiny 2, but Hunters, everyone was running Hunter.
Guns,
yeah, golden gun everywhere. Yeah. So sticking with PvP, I remember I saw you did the, what was it called? It was the competitive...
the MLG event?
Yeah, the MLG event. So what you've seen so far with this PvP, do you think this is going to be a natural progression into this?
Yeah, I think that this game is definitely moving in a direction of being very competitive, capable. It's capable of getting into that scene, absolutely. I'm a little concerned about console, at least from what we've seen here. Clearly not reaching 60 frames per second.
No, it's definitely not 30.
It's clearly not reaching 60. On PC, it looks phenomenal. A little bit concerned about that. I want PC to be there, and it looks so good on PC. But I don't want the difference between the two to be so great that you alienate people who want to participate in something like a competitive community.
Right.
But they want to do it at 60 frames plus per second, depending on what kind of hardware they have. So I certainly don't want to alienate any players, but I'm a little concerned about the frame rate on console, but I do think that we're moving in a great direction to having a more competitive environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So just your overall opinion, because I know you got to play campaign. You just said you got to see some PC as well. So overall, what do you think that we've seen so far with Destiny 2?
I think Destiny 2 is very clearly a game that's been taken seriously from the start. It's got a lot of great inspiration, and some brilliant people have been brought on board to help contribute to that.
Oh, yeah.
Even something as small as the score for Destiny 2, we watched the gameplay trailers, we watched the cinematic trailers, and the music just supplemented everything so well. But everything has just been thought out very well, to a T, very finely tuned. They brought in some outside sources as well to help with the balancing and the Crucible to bring them on board as well. People who have a strong history in competitive gaming. So it's very clear the direction that they want to go. I think we're going to see great things with Destiny 2. I honestly think that this is going to be one of the best games that we're ever going to witness on release.
Yeah, it really is shaping up that way. Now, couple final things. Didn't even talk. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
The social features that they're entering into the game. What do you think of those?
You know, I thought that what's the name of the feature where you can pull in people who are outside
guide games.
Yes, guided games. Thank you. We've had so much information.
I know
today.
it's such an overload.
But the guided games feature, I think that's very interesting. I think that one of the things I like about it, I'm thinking more as a streamer here. But one of the things that you love to do as a streamer is you bring in people from the community to play with.
Exactly.
How cool would it be to queue up a raid, start a stream with just 3 people, and then open it up so that 3 other people get to randomly queue up with you into a raid. You get to bring them into the party, you talk with them, and they get to be on stream with a streamer and interact with their community. I think that's going to be fun to play with as a streamer. But even as a solo player, I have a lot of history as a solo player because a lot of my gaming time has been done as someone who's a dad, who's in school, and you just kind of take the time that you've got. I think that's going to be really great because I used to have to work really hard to get into a raid team, and now as a solo player, you can queue up and you at least have the option. There's no guarantee that these people are going to be nice. There's no guarantee they're going to be helpful. But at least you have the option of playing end-game content.
Exactly, and I think that's the biggest thing is you don't have to leave and go to a third-party source.
Bingo.
You can do it in-game, and it at least gives you the opportunity to be able to get into a Nightfall, get in a Trials match, raid, etc.
And it saves you time, too, because how long have you sat in an LFG site trying to find a group that's good for you, and by the time you all get together in orbit, you only have half an hour left of your gaming time, and you can't get all the way through the raid. It's going to save a lot of hassle. It's great.
And you brought up a point that I didn't even think about, being a streamer. This helps you a lot more because, again, you don't have to leave the game to pull people in and do all that. They can just jump right in, stay in your stream. So, final thing, and we talked about this earlier this morning, your thoughts about the Destiny community. Like, for me, I'm the Destiny super fan on our show, right? Yeah. Because of this community. It's the people. That's why I'm here. So your thoughts?
Man, this community is otherworldly. Honestly, I've never seen a gaming community quite like the Destiny community. I think part of it is the target audience that Destiny tends to hit. And I don't say that to belittle any other communities or the kind of audiences that they hit, but there are a lot of mature gamers here who have a rich history, and we've been there. We've done the struggles as social gamers, and we sort of understand that. And so coming into Destiny with this community, we're so supportive of each other's content. The Twitch directory, especially the YouTube community, they're so supportive of each other. And all these other outside content creators that do things like podcasts, journalism, they're all here, and we know each other. We're meeting each other, and everyone's just so cool about it. And it's such a wonderful community to be a part of because of that.
See, and I have to tell this story really quick before we go. So, last night, you were at a dinner, and Pope Barry, we both know Pope Barry, invited me to this dinner, and I show up with a bunch of my friends, and we walk in, and we see 30 people, and we're like, oh, wait. And I swear I knew half the room because of how great the community is. But it was that thing of, I didn't want to bother you guys, and I'm like, oh, no, they're eating dinner, let's leave, and we left, and then all day today, why didn't you stay? Why didn't you stay?
Yeah.
You should have sat down. We could have had dinner. We could have talked and all that. And again, that's the whole point of this. It's not that we're family because we don't all know each other yet, but it's I just met you. And it's already, we have this great rapport. And, it's like I've known you forever. And that's why I love this community.
Absolutely.
And you're really great at PvP, and I like watching your videos.
Sometimes.
No, real quick before we go, and I know we're limited on time, because you do a lot of trials matches and the quote-unquote the sweaty matches, right?
Yeah.
How intense is that for you? I mean, again, you're a higher-end player, but I mean, what is that thrill? What is that excitement doing those type of matches?
When you get into those matches, you know, sometimes it's hard to really focus on your chat because you get so zoned in.
Right.
And you're looking at, you're taking in all this information. Like, where's my cooldown? How long do I have on my grenade? What's the timer at? So I got to get to cap point. What lanes do I want to defend? How do I want to zone this up? Right, absolutely. And the call-outs become a big thing.
Yeah.
You get into those moments, and that it seems like the stakes rise because you're like, I've got so many people here. If I choke this, oh no! And I'm thinking all the comments on my YouTube video that I post next will be like, oh, you were garbage in trials. You know, you just feel that pressure. And honestly, I don't care about the comments, but it just adds to the intensity of the match, and it makes for really memorable moments, especially when you match up against people you know, other streamers or friends or clanmates, and you get that rush, that thrill. It's so good. I'm really anticipating the kinds of matches that we're going to have as the community gets even bigger and richer in Destiny 2. I think we have a really bright future ahead of us.
Oh, couldn't agree more. So, again, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Now, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on YouTube. If you type in YouTube and then .com/True Vanguard, that's going to take you straight to my page. I'm also on Twitch as The True Vanguard, and on Twitter as The True Vanguard as well.
All right. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, man.
Right. Thanks.
Take it out.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, I want to thank True Vanguard again. Great guy, absolutely great guy. And I'm sure you could hear that in the interview, that he's just a great guy and just one of the pillars of this Destiny community. And, you know, if you're trying to get some tips on PvP, like I said, subscribe, follow him on YouTube, you know, follow him on Twitch if you want to watch him do some of his sweat matches in trials and all that stuff. He's really a great dude. So this final interview, this is with Mark Noseworthy. He is the project lead for Destiny 2, and we get in talking about the game. We kind of just run down some of the stuff that was brought up during the gameplay reveal. I kind of give him my opinion on a few different things. Like I said, even the PvP thing. Great interview. You'll hear PR come in at the end and would like to give me the wrap it up sign because I could have kept talking to him way longer than I did. And the funny thing, when this was actually after an interview, funny thing with him is he's a really in shape dude as well. And we were kind of riffing after the interview about, you know, being buff guys. And he was like, hey, we take a picture. Can you put it on Twitter and let everyone know that I'm not the buffest guy in gaming? And I'm just laughing. He's hilarious, but he's a great guy. As you can see, he's very articulate. He's very on point with his message about Destiny 2. And I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope maybe at E3 or something down the road, I'll get a chance to talk to him again. So let's go play that interview now. All right, this is Parris, Gamertag Radio. I'm still here at the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal, and I am now sitting with the project lead for Destiny 2. So can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mark Noseworthy.
Mark, thank you for taking a little bit of time to talk to me about Destiny 2. So you guys finally have revealed it. We've seen the gameplay. We've seen the trailers.
Yeah, it's out there.
You know, I've had a chance now to go through all the modes.
You played it?
Everything. Loving it so far. I got one little nitpick I'll get back to later on. But first and foremost, when Luke came out, you know, he talked about the 3 things that you guys were looking to accomplish. So I kind of want to just go through those really quick. So he mentioned about a world that pulls you in. So what does that mean?
That means making a place that, you know, you're willing to make your hobby, right? If you think about the actual story of Destiny, about like genocide, humanity's been destroyed, there's only a single last safe city, it's like, that can be some pretty dark stuff, right? But instead, the sky's blue. You know, we want to make it a hopeful look at the future. Even if some terrible things happened in the past, things could be good going on in the future. And so even when we build new destinations, we're trying to make them these mysterious places that you want to explore, that you want to inhabit, a place that you want to hang out in, right? And the same goes for a story, right? Let's tell a story that's relatable, that people can sink their teeth into. And the idea about the loss of your home and the lengths you'd go to recover it, your powers, I think people get that, right? And that's something that can draw you in, right? If we could have a super complicated story about all this stuff going on, And then it gets harder for you to like really put yourself in the character's shoes and really want to be in Destiny and make this a place that you can turn into your hobby, the world that you want to live in.
Oh, absolutely. And then, he mentioned amazing things to do. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so Destiny has this pretty incredible breadth of stuff to do, right? Like we have different activities for different types of moods, different types of people, and all the stuff you liked from Destiny 1's coming back, of course. A rich story campaign, strikes with 3 players, patrols, Crucible, the raid. It's all there. But now with Destiny 2, we're adding a couple new things to that. You've got adventures. Adventures are these like 10 to 15 minute like kind of mini missions you can do that are separate from the main campaign.
Right.
The campaign we call the Red War. These adventures, instead of telling that story, they're telling their own story. They're telling the story of the world that you're in, the destination you're on, the characters, combatants, and NPCs that inhabit it, right? And giving you a lot more fiction and lore, but like what's really going on there. If you think about the European Dead Zone, you saw in the video, there's like this giant corrupted shard in the background. That's a shard of the Traveler, right? And, it's corrupting the forest around it. That's why it's the European Dead Zone.
Right.
And so, you get to do adventures there that are going to help flesh out the story of, like, what's happened to this space, right? That's really going to bring a lot of the lore to the forefront. Another example of activities, amazing things to do are lost sectors. Lost sectors are these places you can find on the destinations, kind of like these little zones that, aren't just like a little tiny little cave with a chest in it, but like an entire cave structure, for instance. And you go down deeper and deeper and deeper into, some boss's lair, and he's there defending a chest, and you're going to have to kill him and all his buddies to take it. But these are hidden. They are off the beaten path. And there are some clues in the environment, but you have to go finding them. We're not going to tell you where they are.
Right.
It's not like a story mission. We're not going to just serve it up to you and be like, here, play this story. You're going to have to go find it. And so those are some of the, kind of new amazing things to do.
I'm kind of sticking on that because, again, I think the whole thing with lost sectors and the treasure maps is really good because it gets off the kind of, because I'm a day one Destiny player, so I've been through it, all the highs and lows, but the monotony of what the patrols eventually become after a certain point. So I'm really happy to see that. Now, one thing I noticed there, and I know you're probably not talking about this too much right now, there seemed to be, I guess it was like on Earth, the farm, so to speak, so I'm assuming that's more like our social space.
Yep.
But I also saw some stuff in the trailers where it looked like we're having some NPC interaction out in the world. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, each destination has their own NPC. In one of the trailers, you saw a church. There's like a cathedral that's centered in the European Dead Zone, and there's a character up in that church you're going to meet pretty early on. And some of these guys, they haven't lived in the city for a long time. They've been out in the wilderness or whatever, and they've got their own stories to tell. And you're going to interact with them, and ultimately they got gear for you to chase, right, and send you on some of these adventures. And so it really kind of grounds the destinations as real places because we have real people there.
Right. So staying on this again, because obviously it's very exciting that we no longer have to go to orbit to go to places, but if you can kind of talk about that as far as the director, how you've updated that and what the thought process went into that.
Yeah. We're trying to, with Destiny, we hid a lot of the experiences, or we made them difficult to get to, either because there's like a level of complexity you needed to understand how to do this thing, or you needed like friends to get there. And so we're really trying to unhide a bunch of that fun, right? And one of the ways to do that is through just better graphic design, better user experience for things like the director and the destination map. So the director now, that's the place where we can see like, hey, what are all the destinations and what are all the things I can do? It's available all the time. Wherever you are, you can just pull it up and be like, oh, this thing's happening over there. I'm gonna fly over to IO. I'm gonna go do that thing with my buddies or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna play Crucible now. Or I'm in the middle of story mission. No, I'm gonna do strikes. Let's just go do strikes. He's ready. Okay, let's do it. And just ban in your thing. You just do it right there. You don't have to go to orbit first and load. And just do it from there. So it's just a more seamless interface. Then you got your destination map. The destination maps now populate with here's all the things that you can do. Like your adventures, but it also advertises like the public events, and it'll say like, hey, there's a public event over by the church, and it's happening in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 3 minutes and 29 seconds. 3 minutes, and you know what? I think I can go bang that thing out. And there's a patrol over there too, so I'm maybe going to do that while I'm here. And So it allows you to. The experience is like every 2 to 20 minutes, you can just pull up your map and it's like, what am I gonna do next? And that's when you're in kind of like landing mode zone. Like you pick a landing zone and you say, I want to live in this destination. And when you're there, you can do patrols, you can do your treasure maps, you can find lost sectors, you can do adventures, and you can really kind of like freely roam the environment and like find stuff to do, right? And that map, everything on that map now, it's not just something to do or something to chase. You can track it. So you can say, okay, I don't really know how to get from where I am to the church. The church is really, I know it's far, but I don't know how to get there. I haven't memorized the destination yet. You probably know how to get all over Venus.
Right.
But you don't know how to get all over EDZ, right? But you want to get to that public event, so you say track. And once you track the activity, you go back to your, boots on the ground. In your HUD, there's like, this is how you get there. You're like, okay, man, that's how, and let's book it. Let's get there before the event starts so we can complete the heroic public event, which is like a new level of completion. If you and your buddies are really good at the public event, you're going to get better loot. There's like a kind of a little secret to every public event.
Yeah.
If you do it really well and do that thing, it's hard, but you're going to get better loot.
Now, I want to get into the new worlds we'll explore and some of just the character development that you showed off today. But I have to circle back to what you're talking about right now, because a lot of the things in Destiny 1, we had to leave the game to go do. And the one feature that you're putting in, which ironically enough is probably my most exciting feature, is the guided games.
Yeah.
Because, I'm lucky that I'm in a clan and I have buddies I can go raid with. But even the example that you brought up, sometimes there's only 5 of us online.
Yeah.
We need to get that one guy. So now we got to leave the game. We got to go to LFG.net.
Or 45 minutes just sitting around.
Exactly.
And then by that point, someone's like, all right, guys, I got to drop. And you're like, but what? And you're like, I only had an hour to play and we were going to do, we were going to do Wrath, and now it's too late and I can't, I got to get up for work or whatever. And so, guided games is going to be pretty transformative for that, right? It's going to also, guided games is the thing that's going to get people who didn't get an opportunity to play that content at all can now play it, And you're going to, be a guide more often than you're going to be a seeker.
Right.
Because you got a clan already, and that's cool. But what's going to happen is you're going to play with some randoms, and they're going to be like, that guy's really good, or he was really cool, or she's got some real skill at this game, man. We're still looking for a hunter who's like, better with the Arc Strider build. Like, we need that.
Right.
Let's send her an invite. Maybe she can join our clan, And then suddenly that person's got a community to play with.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, we've been trying. It's been an expressed goal to make Destiny a game that you do not need the internet for, aside from sending bits over the wires. You're you don't need Reddit. I love Reddit. I read it all the time. But it's not you have not gotten to a good place with your game design if you feel like part of the game requires you reading what people have crowdsourced on Reddit. Certainly not at the start of launching a game like Destiny 2. We want this to be a kicking off point for millions of new people. Returning Guardians, people stopped playing a couple years ago. Someone like yourself, hopefully, who's still playing, and someone who's brand new into the fray, and requiring you do a bunch of reading on the internet before you can have fun. It's just not compatible with that, And so we're trying to put this stuff right in the game,
No, and that's great, because the one thing I can say, again, I'm lucky that being, in this industry and everything, I was able to get attached to the Guardian 1 clan and get exposed to all those people in the community. But like you said, there's a lot of people out there that don't have that opportunity, and they just don't know where to go. Because can you tell the statistic again about the raids, about how many people haven't been able to even do it?
Yeah, the statistic Luke shared was 50% of people who hit level 40 never raided.
Right.
And there's a lot more people who played the game who never hit level 42. If you think of someone who played Destiny in year 1 and stopped, there was no level 40 yet. Right? So some people even stopped playing. So it's more than 50% of the people never got to play the raids. And the raids are some of the most definitive Destiny content, Standing shoulder to shoulder with 5 other Guardians, taking on these incredible challenges is a definitively Destiny experience. And yet, some people who've played for thousands of hours haven't played the raids because they don't have enough friends.
Right.
And they'd like to, And so we want to really give everyone that experience, that opportunity. Same thing with Trials. Same thing with Nightfall, We think there's a group of friends for everyone to play the game with. And with clans and guided games, we're going to try to help people find them.
Absolutely. And again, I love that this feature is coming, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. Now, just going back to the world, so people understanding the places that we're going to explore, because you mentioned Io. So what about that planet and some of the other places we're going to see?
Yeah, Io's a moon of Jupiter, and it's the last place that the Traveler touched down before the collapse. And so it holds a special spot in the fiction of our universe. And it's got these like sulfuric cliffs and rock faces, and just it's a really cool place to be. And of course the skybox is incredible. And then you've got Titan. Titan is a moon of Saturn, and it's got these methane oceans where at the height of the Golden Age, humanity was building these arcologies, these giant living spaces. But they've since been abandoned, of course, because it's hundreds of years later, and something pretty terrible is happening there now. And then we have Nessus. Nessus is what you played in the Inverted Spire. You played a portion of it. Yeah. That is an unstable planetoid that the Vex has slowly been terraforming, basically from the inside out. And the Cabal are there looking for something, looking for a weapon. And then we have the European Dead Zone, of course, on Earth. And this is, a place with lush forests and where there's a shard of the Traveler that fell off long ago that now has been corrupted and is poisoning the nearby forest.
Now, like you mentioned, I got to play the strike, which was fantastic. I just love the mechanics that going through that strike to the end.
Man.
Like, it's funny just listening to a lot of people while I've been here today go, man, that was kind of hard. I wasn't expecting that. And that's good. That's good. I love to see that there's a little bit of difficulty added to the strike. Went through that first level of the campaign, which, obviously sets up everything that's going to happen after that. Now, PvP. Played the 4v4 PvP. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it.
That's good.
I love PvP. But why the decision to go to 4v4? Kind of the buzz that's been going around is and I feel this way as well, my little nitpick. I like doing 6v6. I like with my son, we love going into trials 3v3 or doing a 2v2, 1 versus 1, things like that. And it sounds like, unless I'm mistaken, everything now with the Crucible is going to be set to 4v4.
That is the plan. The reason we're going 4v4 is it makes PvP more learnable, more watchable, encourages teamwork, and ultimately leads us to a place where we can make a more competitive PvP game, right? When the team size shrinks, you have less people to worry about. It's easier to coordinate, right? It's easier to understand what's happening in the battlefield. When you get killed, there's only 4 enemies that potentially killing you, right? And it's not just the team size that we've been touching to try to accomplish these goals. It's also things like improving the HUD readout. You can see now who has their super, right?
Which I like. I really
you've got the heavy ammo and where they are. You can see the map locations all have names now, right? You can see, that guy's by the water tower. It's actually called the water tower, and you can see, I'm in the water tower. Well, he's in the water tower too. What? And so you can see this information. And then we've also increased the time to kill. So that the individual firefight between 2 Guardians now lasts longer. It used to be like, come around the corner, I got shot, I don't know what happened, I'm just not very good at this. And now, because the fights can last a little bit longer, you have a greater opportunity to learn about like how to play the game well. I think it's, we want it to be easy to learn, but difficult to master. And it's definitely an adjustment for someone who comes from PvP to, the old PvP to this, but the team feels really good about where we've gotten, and this is like, we think the most fun PvP we've ever had in Destiny. And, yeah.
Okay. All right. We need to wrap it up. So I wanted to get into the weapons really quick. So if we can just go over, you've changed up how the weapon structure goes, like that special slot and the power weapons. Can you kind of talk about that really quick?
Yeah, real quick. Your first slot's kinetic. These are bullets that do damage. Second slot's energy. These are energy weapons that take down shields faster and will take down other Guardians who have their supers up faster. And then you got your power slot. Right? The first 2 slots, kinetic and energy, they can have the same weapon types. So you can have a hand cannon in your kinetic slot, and then like a solar hand cannon, if you want to rock 2 hand cannons, in the second slot. The reason we've done this is it gives players more choice. Right? You can play the way you want to play and really change things up. We might even have some like interesting interaction between weapons sometimes. And then you've got your power slot where, that's where you've got your shotguns, your grenade launchers, which is a new archetype, and your rocket launchers, grenade launchers, the shotguns there, the sniper rifle, and they're really beefy. Like the shotgun crushes now. Like it crushes monsters. It's really strong because it's in that power slot, right? But then, it's really about choice. And at first, it does feel really different. But I think that's a good thing.
It does.
It's Destiny 2. And you get used to it pretty quickly, and then you start to really like it. You know what? I'm gonna roll like AR Scout, and as soon as my AR runs out of ammo, bam, hitting Y, I'm switching right over to Scout. And I'm just like, that's how I'm gonna play. Instead of like, I'm gonna roll Scout, and then I gotta go shotgun, but I'm not very good at shotguns. Like, I felt with Destiny for myself, I wasn't very good with the special slot in Destiny 1. I felt like I just couldn't. They were all special. They were literally called, it was the special slot. It was for specialty weapons. And so you had to use them in a different way. You had to be good at a certain way of using them. So I just end up rolling primary all the time, so just playing the game with my scout rifle. Now I'm experiencing all these different weapon types because I get to switch them around more,
Well, I know we're out of time. So, Mark, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk about Destiny 2 with me. I have to slip this in really quick. I love the Bungie podcast. I love the dynamic that you guys had on there. I hope you continue to do that over the summer. I can't wait to hear more about Destiny 2 over the summer, and I can't wait for September 8th. So thank you again.
That's cool, man. Thanks for coming in.
All right. I want to thank Mark for taking the time to sit down and talk with me about Destiny 2 again. Had a fantastic time talking about the game. It's something, obviously, I want to hear more at E3, more during the beta, during the summer, and obviously getting into launch at September 8th. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Gamertag Radio. This has been the special Destiny Talk Radio episode. I wish Pete could have been here with me. He would have had a blast. So I'm sure we'll be talking more Destiny 2 over the next few weeks because I have a story that I have to tell with Danny and Pete on the show because it is hilarious. But overall, fantastic time at the event. I cannot thank Activision and Bungie enough for inviting me out to the event. Had a great time, met a bunch of great people, about to go downstairs and hang out with a few of them right now. And I want to give a shout out to my clan in Destiny 1, Guardian 1. You guys are amazing. They were sending me questions and hitting me up, like during the event and everything. And just all people that have been following me on Twitter, asking me questions and all that. Our Discord channel was getting a bunch of questions there as well. Guardian Radio, those guys I love, K-Dub, Bell, they're out here. Bife is out here. Just, again, I cannot talk enough about how much I love the people in this community. It is fantastic. And it's why this game has kept me interested the past 3 years and beyond, because I don't see it slowing down. If anything, with Destiny 2, I'm going to be playing it even more at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been Parris. I'm out here in Los Angeles. Just got the chance to play Destiny 2. This was Destiny Talk Radio. And we will see you guys soon.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.